Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotra Sada Sri Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīmad Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Thai God Premanande All glories to assembled devotees All glories to assembled devotees All glories to assembled devotees All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga All glories to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tharine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtikhi. Today we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, entitled The Appearance of the Demon Vritrasura, Text 41. This is a prose-based verse. I'll read the verse. We may not be able to recite the verse together. We'll do the word-to-word meaning together. I'll read the verse first. Asmakam thava khanam tatata nathanam hare tava charana nalina yugala dhyanadbhuta hridaya nigadhanam swalinga visvarenenatmasat kritanam anukampanuranjita vishada ruchira shishira smita valokena vigalita madura mukha rasamrita kalaya chantas tapam anagarhasi shamayitum. Word to word meaning, please repeat. Asmakam, of us. Tavakanam, who are wholly and solely dependent upon you. Tata tata, O grandfather, father of the father. Natanam, who are fully surrendered unto you. Hare, O Lord Hari. Tava, your. Charana, on the feet. Nalina Yugala, like two blue lotus flowers. Dhyana, by meditation. Anubaddha, bound. Hridaya, in the heart. Nigadhanam, whose chains. Swalinga vivaranena, by manifesting your own form. Atmasat kritanam, of those who have accepted as your own. Anukampa, by compassion. Anuranjita, being colored. Vishada, bright. Ruchira, very pleasing. Shishira, cool. Smita, with a smile. Avalokena, by your glance. Vigalita, melted with compassion. Madhura mukha rasa, of the very sweet words from your mouth. Amrita kalaya, by the drops of nectar. Cha, and. Antaha, within the cause of our hearts. Tapam, the great pain. Anagha, O Supreme Pure. Arhasi, you deserve. Shamayitum, to curb. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. O Supreme Protector, O Grandfather, O Supreme Pure, O Lord, we are all surrendered souls at your lotus feet. Indeed, our minds are bound to your lotus feet in meditation by chains of love. Now please manifest your incarnation. Accepting us as your own eternal servants and devotees, be pleased with us and sympathetic towards us. By your love-filled glance, with its cool and pleasing smile of sympathy, and by the sweet nectarian words emanating from your beautiful face, free us from the anxiety caused by this Vritrasura, who always pains the course of our hearts. Purport. Lord Brahma is considered the father of the demigods, but Krishna, or Lord Vishnu, is the father of Brahma, because Brahma took birth from the lotus flower growing from the Lord's abdomen. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sma Padantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. The demigods are offering prayers to the Lord after he has given his darshan, just as we offer prayers to the Lord during the morning program. We sing the Govinda Madhipurusham songs. We offer that as a prayer. It's a notable prayer. So here, the Lord is addressed as the Supreme Father of our Father, Supreme Lord. Here the specific focus is relieving the pain from the heart. And that is going to be done by various methods. First method is a drop of sweet, juicy nectar flowing from your mouth. That's the first aspect. Then the second is the smiling glance, which is soothing. Hasam Hare Avanata Akila Loka Tivra Sokashu Sagara Vishoshanam Atyudaram Sammohanaya Rachitam Nijamaya Yasya Bhrumandalam Manikrite Magaradvajasya. In the limb-by-limb meditation of the Lord, which is advocated when Lord Kapila is describing this process of meditation on the bodily parts of the Lord. So he describes Hasam Hare Avanata Akila Loka Tivra. The smile of the Lord, Hasam Hare Avanata Akila Loka Tivra. So the whole world is burning in the threefold miseries. That is put off by the smile of the Lord. Sokashu Sagara Vishoshanam Atyudaram. So the meditation begins from the feet of the Lord, then the thighs. So the feet itself, one is advised to meditate on the feet of the Lord for a long time till the darkness in the heart is removed. because the marks on the feet of the Lord are so auspicious that they drive away this darkness. Sanchintayed Bhagavatas Charanaravindam Vajrangusa Dvaja Swarorgha Lanchanatam Uttunga Ratta Vilasan Nakachakra Valam Joshnadivir Agatam Mahat Hridayanda Karam. Sanchintayed Bhagavatas. So one must meditate on the feet of the Lord. What does the feet of the Lord contain? Vajra, Angusa, Dvaja, Saroruga. All the auspicious marks. And the Vajra in that is smashing the Uttunga, so smashes the ignorance in the heart of the devotee, and the light emanating from the feet of the Lord also diminishes or eradicates the darkness in the heart. Hridaya Andakaram. Like that, the different limbs of the body, one has to meditate, and I found that very closely matching to what the demigods are praying. Where he's addressed as the grandfather, father of the father, by the by your feet, by meditation on that, then by the nectar flowing from your mouth, then compassionate glances, which is soothing, pure and pleasing. And the next aspect they are trying to focus is the compassionate glance. So the demigods are requesting the Lord to cast his compassionate glance on them, because if you are the Supreme Father of the Father, you are the Supreme Lord, we are your children, so please help us by relieving the distress caused in our hearts. Because of whom? Because of the demon Vritrasura. Mother Kunti also prays to the Lord, offering prayers, and she also lists the pains that the Pandavas went through. Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanat Asatsabhaya Vanavasa Krichrataha Mride Mrideneka Maharatashrato Draunyastrataschashma Hare Birakshitaha. So she starts to list the atrocities that the Pandavas went through. So initially Bhima was, they tried to kill Bhima by putting a poison to him. Then the palace, they were asked to go to a palace which was made with an inflammable material, I think it was wax or something, and that was set on fire. Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanat. Then they were attacked by various, within the forest they faced many challenges in living. Then the peak of all of that is the disrobing of Draupadi. Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichrataha. And in the war, it's not that you kill one person and then the war finishes. No. Mride Neha. And these people are not, those who are on the other side, fighting against the Pandavas, they are not ordinary people. They are, some have, like very specifically Bhishma Dev has, Ichamrityu, no one can kill him. If he decides, then he can. So that's why Pandavas have to go to Bhishma and ask, how can we kill you? What's the method? You see, you're unstoppable. Then Bhishma is gone, okay, relax? No, Drona. Unless he puts his weapon down, no one can defeat him. Again, Mride Neka Maharatashruto. So then comes Karna, all of that. So again and again. Now this Ashwatthama, finally, they thought everything is over. Then he aimed the Brahmastra towards Mother Uttara. That's when she comes running to the Lord. Pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyam tvad abhayam pashye yatra mrityu parasparam. If you don't save me, death is certain for me. Pahi pahi, protect me, please protect me. If I were to die, it's okay, but please protect the child within my womb. So she asks for protection. Draunyasritaschashma harebi rakshita. So in all those circumstances, Krishna steps in, protects. Krishna steps in and protects. Krishna is stepping in and protecting. So each time he comes, steps in and protects, what is the advantage is they are taking his darshan. So that's why the next prayer she says, Vipata santuta shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru. Bhavato darshanam yatsyat apunar bhava darshanam. So she listed all the dangers. Every time Krishna steps in and protects, elevates. So that's the theme of this canto, which is Poshanam. Protection by the Lord. So every time the Lord intervenes and protects, so they are able to take the association of the Lord, they are able to see the Lord, His smiling glance, His smile, His lotus feet, His beautiful form. And that's how Mother Kunti begins a prayer, by describing the beautiful form of the Lord. Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankaja Maline. So everything about the Lord is related to lotus. Lotus. Your feet is like lotus, your eyes are like lotus petals, your navel, all of that. Even Lord Shiva, when describing the beauty of the Lord, he will also describe the abdomen of the Lord from which the universe comes out. The universe will think, oh, the abdomen is so beautiful, now I want to go back into it again. And that's where you see, from that abdomen only comes the lotus flower, and from that only Brahma is born. So every time a danger comes, Krishna steps in. Another danger comes, Krishna steps in. And then he is constantly giving his protection to the Pandavas. Now that the dangers are over, Krishna wants to leave the Pandavas. So Mother Kunti is praying, let there be more dangers so that we can see you. Bhavato darshanam yatsyat apunar bhava darshanam. Because seeing you means we no longer see repeated birth and death. So then she lists the qualification of those who can call out to the Lord without any reservation. Janmaishvarya shuta shribihir etamana matappuman naivarhat abhidatum vai tvam akinchana gocharam. So those who can call out to the Lord with feelings are those who don't have high birth, janma, aishvarya, wealth, shruta, intelligence, shri, all of these. If a person doesn't have, he is akinchana. And such a person, by his devotion, he can buy you. And he can call out to you with feelings without asking anything from you. tvam akinchana gocharam. So this mood of Mother Kunti is totally in contrast with the mood of the demigods, the way in which they are praying. So every time the pain in the heart of the Pandavas increased, they called out to the Lord and they asked for protection. But there was no selfish interest in that. But here we can see the demigods going through the pain in their heart, and now they are seeing the Lord, they are praising Him. They offered a set of prayers before the Lord appeared. Now the Lord has appeared. They are praising the Lord in various ways, in more detail when they actually saw the Lord. And now here they are describing the beauty of the Lord, but at the same time, as we saw in yesterday's verse, as Gopandeshwar was talking, they came to the point of, okay, all this glorification is there, but we are not without selfish motives. But they added one important line yesterday saying, if you so desire, yadi manyase, if you think it proper to kill the great demon Vritrasura, by that remove the pain in our heart. So we are pained in the core of our heart because of the atrocities of demon Vritrasura. Therefore, you kill him and then give us the, what we want. We want to continue enjoying our material opulence, wealth and all of that. And that's our motive. In fact, we are, in one sense, we are ashamed of asking you for this favor, because demigods also know that it is a prayer with motivation. It is not pure, because they also described in the previous set of prayers the highest nature of the devotees who do not ask anything from the Lord and who purify the three worlds because of their purity. So yesterday's purport talked about the demigods being Sakama Bhakta. So how do Sakama devotees become purified? Is by their contact with the Lord. So if we step back and analyze how did the demigods get to this position, they themselves are describing in Canto 5, 19th chapter, where they are saying that they have executed a lot of ritualistic activities when they were in this Bharat Varsha. Because you can't, you can only create karma here in the Bharat Varsha. You enjoy in the heaven or you suffer in the hell. Whatever activities you do here, based on the yajnas they perform, the ingredients they put, the faith. So when a person is motivated by the faith that I can perform these karmakanda sacrifices and go and enjoy in heaven, so their faith is in the ritualistic sacrifices. I'm interested in this, I want this, I'm attached to both the work and the result, but I will also offer some to Lord, because none of the sacrifices are complete without offering respects, oblations to Lord Vishnu. So that has to be done. So these demigods have done all of those ritualistic activities, and accordingly, based on the ingredients they put in this sacrifice, according to the consciousness they put in that sacrifice, they get a particular body. And that's how they are sitting in this heavenly planets and enjoying the opulences. And as we saw earlier, heaven is not always heaven. There are problems in the heaven as well. So they are attacked by the demons. There is a constant threat, power, struggle Then on top of that, you fail to offer respects to your spiritual master. And on top of that, in the urge to hold on to your material opulence, Aishwarya, you behead a Brahmana who was trying to help you, who offered some oblations to the demons also. So then the complication is increasing. Why? Because they are attached to the results and they want to enjoy. In those minds who are too attached to wealth, the resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. And that verse from the Gita we can see as a real life example. This is how we understand the verses in the Gita are expanded in the Bhagavatam, as Gopandish Prabhu was saying yesterday. It gives case studies. How does it cover one's intelligence, how one commits various kind of mistakes, and what's the repercussions of that. And despite all of this, the Lord says that my devotee never perishes. So that's why you see Lord stepping in and protecting the Lord, protecting His devotees, even though they've gone, even though they're attached to the work and the results. So in the 19th chapter, the same demigods admit that in the heaven we have forgotten the feet of the Lord. Narayana Pada Pankaja Smriti Pramushta. Because of the too much of enjoyment in the heaven, we have forgotten the feet of Lord Narayana. Whereas look at the good fortune of those in this Bharat Varsha. The same demigods will make this famous statement and this famous prayer about how the Lord acts in a compassionate way, how He shows His special mercy. Satyam dishat yat damattido nrinam naivartito yat punarartita yata swayam vidatte bhajatam anichitam Ichchapidanam nijapada pallavam. The demigods are saying, when the Lord shows special favor to His devotees, He offers them a place in His own lotus feet. Even if the devotee doesn't desire, Ichchapidanam, He voluntarily gives shelter at His lotus feet, and that shelter and the lotus feet is His special mercy. Ichchapidanam nijapada pallavam. So, in that section, in that purport, it's described that if a child is eating dirt, so what do the parents tell? Don't eat dirt, don't eat dirt. That's one approach. The other approach is, you can distract the child who's eating mud by showing them something superior, by giving them some sweet preparation. When seeing the sweet preparation, the child will give up his or her attachment to eating dirt, and they will naturally come to eat the sweet. We can picture this as to how you've seen parents trying to feed their children. It's a whole bit of a struggle there, right? It's not easy. So they keep running around, you have to go behind them and feed one spoon, and then they go running around and they start eating something else. And then you'll have to show, or you'll have to convince them that here is something higher, you come and taste this. So that analogy is given, that these material things and enjoying matter is compared to eating dirt. The Lord gives the sweet preparation of the shelter at His own lotus feet. Even though a mixed devotee may be unwilling to take it, but the Lord gives it. Ichchapidanam nijapada pallavam. Swayam vidatte bhajatam anichitam. Even though you don't want it, the mother forces you to take some sweet preparation. And by gaining the taste of that sweet, you give up the taste for the mud. Similarly, the Lord gives shelter at His own lotus feet, and that is His special mercy. One form of special mercy. So whenever the special mercy concept is discussed, we discuss the point about Lord taking everything away. That is one form of special mercy. He also gives shelter at His lotus feet. That's another form of special mercy. By that shelter one is satisfied, and by that satisfaction one gives up attraction to matter. This is how here, as per my understanding, the demigods are becoming purified. Because they are approaching the Lord, they are admitting their fallen position, and they are praying for His blessings, even though it is motivated, even though they still have their material attachments. The good thing about the demigods is when they are in danger, they approach the Lord. So every time you come in contact with the Lord, purification is happening. That is happening in stages for the demigods. So the Lord, by putting them through all of this, He is putting the demigods through all of these tribulations. In one sense, He is shaking their faith that they have in material enjoyment, because that's how they landed up in heaven. They had faith in the process of rituals, they had faith that I can go and enjoy. So that is being shaken by all of these setbacks, potential dangers. And when they don't have anywhere else to go to, they come back to their senses. We are not independent controllers, we are not independent enjoyers, although we may think like that. So their mentality of lording it over or being, having that Ishvara Bhav, the Lord knows their tendencies and He delegates them. Okay, you have this tendency, this is the service that you can do it and become purified. So this is the Lord expertly engaging a person according to his nature and getting His administrative work also done, simultaneously purifying them. So we see that in the case of Prajapati Daksha, he wants to create progeny. The Lord also had a desire that population has to increase. So then there is a match between, in a typical corporate terms, the candidate's aspirations and the company's vision, mission, goal, all of that. So there is a match. So the Lord said, okay, you have that desire, let's get into a, contract here, and here's your contract, go for it. It's like that the Lord knows that certain living entities have this tendency to lord over, and they have done those ritualistic sacrifices, and go ahead and administer, enjoy, get those propensities used in the service, and then become purified. So when they are enjoying the heaven, that's when they are enjoying the punya. And when it is over, they have to come down again. Kshine punye marti lokam vishanti. And that's when they take the path of rain, all of that sequence which is described in the Gita. And they rain to grain, all of that. So then again they take birth. So the whole principle of the Lord purifying the demigods, shaking their faith in material enjoyment, and when they are in a position to listen, when they become sober, then He is going to give instructions. Because we cannot instruct a person who is steeped in Janma, Aishwarya, Shuta, all of that. When all of that is taken away, it's put in danger. So then they come and surrender to the Lord, they ask and they pray. They are now seeing the Lord, now and then the purification is happening. Now, when I was going through this nature of the prayers of the demigods, how they are praying to harm another devotee. Because Vritrasura is a devotee of the Lord, because the Lord Himself says, He is my devotee. He will not harm you. In one sense, we can say Vritrasura is like in the corporate terms, he's a Vishnu certified demon. He's a demon, but he's certified by Vishnu that he's my devotee. He carries that. I'm a devotee of the Lord, but I'm in the body of a demon. You see many instances like Mahajans, like Prahlad Maharaj, body of a demon, but the consciousness of a devotee. So the Lord says that he is my devotee. Unfortunately, the demigods are not able to see the exalted position and they're praying to the Lord to kill him. So a classic clash between the devotees. Both are devotees of the Lord. And if you see the prayers of these devotees, we can understand their position where they are at. So if a devotee is praying to the Lord, he is worshipping the deity, he is following the rules and regulations, but he wants to harm another devotee and he is praying for that, then that's not considered as a pure devotion. It is considered as mixed devotion. That mix specifically Lord Kapila describes in 29th chapter of the 3rd canto, the mix due to the modes and how a practitioner can be in the modes. So if you're praying to the Lord, doing all those rituals and trying to please the Lord with the intention to harm another devotee, out of your envy, out of your hatred, and that is said to be bhakti covered by the mode of, the practitioner of the bhakti is covered by the mode of ignorance. So Lord Kapila describes that such a devotee, he worships the Lord, he has anger, he has intentions of violence, he is covered by pride, his heart is full of hatred, he lacks compassion. So these are the qualities of a practitioner practicing bhakti in the mode of ignorance. So as per my understanding, at least in this situation, the demigods, their bhakti seems to be in the mode of ignorance and passion. So let's see how Lord Kapila describes a person in the mode of passion worshipping the Lord. So a person in the mode of passion worships the Lord, does bhakti, he asks for name, fame, wealth, all of that, and desire for other objects. So the contamination through the modes affects the practitioner, and their bhakti is being implicated by all of this. Bhakti in itself is beyond all the modes, but the practitioner comes under the modes, and then his intention, which is supposed to only please the Lord, becomes covered, avritam, covered by all of this. Now what can we learn from this particular mentality of the demigods trying to pray to the Lord with selfish motives, with anger, hatred, envy towards another devotee whom they don't know as a devotee? I'm not sure, as per my understanding, I'm not sure if the demigods understand the position of Vritrasura as a devotee or not. If they, I'm assuming they know he is a devotee and they still want to kill him, then we need to learn a lesson from the fact that we need to know what we are asking the Lord for. Whether it is going to benefit us or harm us, because by harming another devotee, you're again going to become implicated. So it is better for us as a sadhakas to reflect the nature of our prayers, what are we praying for, and if these mixed by the modes of ignorance or passion, or even by the goodness, how do we identify it is by understanding the characteristics of the bhakti of a practitioner in the mode of ignorance, practitioner in the mode of passion, and practitioner in the mode of goodness. By knowledge of that, one will be able to reflect on what am I praying for, what is the implication of it. Because the demigods, when in the Bharatvarsha, they prayed for heaven, thinking that heaven is going to be heaven. But heaven is not actually heaven. So now they are praying for demigods, they are praying for the killing of another devotee. So what's my motive? How I need to constantly check. Now here is where the distinction lies in terms of what should we ask the Lord to remove, what should we ask the Lord to fulfill. So desires as such, if we take a close look, they can be born from our own nature, swabhava. Or another option is desires which are born from your what you value, which you call as a value system. So if we analyze them, desires born out of swabhava, desires born out of value system. The value system teaches you this is good, this is bad, and do this, don't do this. Even to live as a human, there are certain do's and don'ts, which Manu Samhita gives. As far as bhakti, there are certain items which are favorable, which are not favorable. And within your swabhava also, as Krishna describes, Brahma karma swabhavajam, Vaishya karma swabhavajam, he's talking about the innate qualities that you're born with, which is based on your previous activities, and you have acquired a certain kind of guna, and you are acting in a certain way. Even from there, you will have a certain set of desires which are conducive for bhakti, which are not conducive for bhakti. So to pray to the Lord, a mixed devotee will pray to the Lord to fulfill his anarthas. Because killing another devotee or asking for name and fame is an anartha. So as practicing sadhakas, we should not do that. We should pray to the Lord, identifying this is my shortcoming, this is something that I am praying to you to get removed. And these are specifically termed as anarthas. So we should identify them as these are anarthas, and my dear Lord, I'm ashamed to come in front of you and stand. Thank you for showing this to me as my own shortcoming. I'm embarrassed to stand in front of you. Kindly help me to get this removed. Rather than asking for those desires to get fulfilled, which may eventually put you in a bad situation, it's better to pray to the Lord to remove those anarthas. And those desires which are favorable to the Lord, for example, you want to please the Guru by serving his mission, you want to be very regular in your morning program, you want to be regular in your sadhana, you're having struggles. So they are all good desires, but you are having challenges in fulfilling those desires which are pratikul. At that time, you ask the Lord to give you the strength to fulfill those desires. They are called as abhilashas. Even in those abhilashas, there could be a mix of, I want something out of that. So the mix could be due to jnana and karma. So those are yoga. Those are, even in the abhilashas, one has to be careful. So, and that's when here we see the demigods are in that category of sakama bhaktas. But unfortunately, in this instance, they seem to be praying to the Lord to fulfill their desire of killing a devotee who is in the body of a demon. So this particular struggle which a sadhaka goes through is nicely described by Lord Krishna in the 11th canto, where the sadhaka has awakened his faith in the Lord. his Shraddha is towards the process of bhakti, but he still has some material attachments. But the right mentality Krishna describes, he must be disgusted. But still, he is unable to give up those acts of sense gratification. But he sincerely repents for it. So Krishna is teaching multiple things. He tells that this is the state that everyone has to go through. That when you are going through the process of purification, this is a tug of war or a struggle that a sadhaka goes through. You have faith in me, you're attracted to me, you have faith in the process of bhakti, you're disgusted with material activities. At the same time, you're not able to give up sense gratification. So he says, Jata Shraddho Matkatashu Nirvinna Sarva Karmashu. He has awakened his faith, he is disgusted with material activities. Understands, theoretically I know, Veda Dukkhatmakam Kaman, understands that sense gratification leads to misery. Still, Parityage Abhi Anishvara, still unable to give up sense gratification. Jushamanas Chadan Kaman Dukkho Darkhamsa Garahayan. He sincerely repents that I am forced my swabhava to do this. So, in that section, it is described, and in the Gita also Krishna describes that one shouldn't come under the force of the pushings from by one's swabhava, but rather one should control one's lower nature by not acting on those desires. Desires which are prompting you to go away from Krishna, which is based on your swabhava. Don't act on them. If by force you have acted on them, repent for it and pray for the Lord to remove them, rather than praying to the Lord to fulfill them. So he says, finally in that section, Tato bhajeta mam prita shraddhalud drida nishchaya. Remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. So the action items for us is pray for the fulfillment of desires which will please the Lord. Pray for the removal of the obstacles and the anarthas which are taking you away from the Lord. So when you are going through this struggle, don't lose faith. And don't give up the struggle, because that struggle is everyone has to go through, and here we typically see the demigods are going through that. They know this is temporary, they're disgusted, they're still not able to give up, and they're praying to the Lord, but unfortunately they're praying to the Lord for the wrong purpose. If the Lord is in front of you, they can ask for something better, and that's why the Lord will mildly chastise them as well. So as a practicing sadhaka, we also need to know what is mixed devotion and what is pure devotion, and there are 5 we can correct. So that requires education and guidance. Then the final point is, when you're going through that struggle, continue with enthusiasm and determination. And that's when I wanted to focus on the next aspect, where this anukampa is there by compassion. Tatte anukampa, which Gopavindesh Prabhu covered nicely yesterday. So this anukampa, this compassion, the Lord shows to the devotee. Even in the Gita, we have this Chaturshloki Gita. So where does this word anukampa come in that? Tesham evanu anukampa. So that compassion. Yes, go ahead. Tesham evanu kampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhashvata. So the compassion the Lord is showing by removing the darkness in the heart. And it is the same compassion that the Lord showed, and Prahlad Maharaj appreciated that. You didn't even show this compassion putting your hand on my head. You didn't even do that for Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva or even to Mother Lakshmi, but you did that to me. So one has to be enthusiastic and have the determination when you're going through the struggle. This struggle, as I was reading through His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami, his book Spiritual Warrior, when you're going through that struggle, you may, or most of the devotees will go through the period where they face what is called as the dark night of the soul. The clash between one's own swabhava, the desires born out of their own swabhava, which is pulling them away from Krishna, and then the desires which are there, which are taking you towards the Lord. So this struggle, Maharaj describes with this famous term. It is there in Christianity as well, the dark night of the soul. So I'll read few sections and we will take few lessons from that. When a person is going through that, what should you do? And if you see others going through it, what should you do? In the process, quote, in the process of freeing ourselves from material entanglements, we may experience a dark night of the soul, which is a period of serious testing. Which is a period of serious testing. In order to fortify us from such difficult periods, esoteric teachings emphasize the need to be regulated and unaffected by happiness and distress. Unquote. Here we can clearly see what to expect. It is going to be a serious test. When that struggle is going on, initially when you take up the process, you'll have the Lord helping you by giving you that newer taste, because it's singing and dancing and feasting, you're getting to meet new people, it's all goody period. And then a period may come. The Lord actually enthuses by giving all of that. But when this serious testing period comes, all of that is withdrawn. The Lord Himself may not give those. And you will feel what is called as a dry period. And that's what Maharaj describes here. And in that dry period, the practitioner may think that this period is going to be unending. There's no end to this dark period and it will not finish. The sadhaka thinks everything seems to go wrong. I am doing everything correct, but everything seems to go wrong. He may be tempted to think, even God does not love me. I am chanting, I am praying, I am meditating, I am fasting, I have become a vegetarian, I am kind to people, I read scriptures, I respect the saints, I have a spiritual teacher, I am doing everything I know how to do, but still the Lord doesn't love me. These are some of the internal dialogues which may go through a person who is passing through that dark night of the soul. So Maharaj advises that first thing he says about this, one has to be equipoised. One has to show the maturity during this period where you are being tested. And Maharaj goes on to explain, I'm just mentioning a few points. Some devotees may even go through depression, which may seem like a material depression, but it is actually not. The first points which I managed to collect from the limited time is to remain equipoised even when people around you may misunderstand you. He is talking about a devotee circle. People around you may misunderstand you, they may want to help you, but they may not know how to help you. And you may face situations where you may even be felt let down by people around you. And that's what the whole series of internal dialogue goes on. I have people, I am kind to people, I have a spiritual teacher, I'm doing all of this, nothing is working. So at that time, Maharaj asks to persevere and not to be affected by the dualities. The second major thing he says, by quoting some real life examples as to how firefighters and then the paramedics, he gives two examples, how they are prepared and they anticipate these kind of testing periods. Firefighters, they know exactly when the siren goes, what to do. They dress themselves properly, they come down, they catch a pole and they come down, and then they have a standard operating procedure. So Maharaj is encouraging spiritual warriors who are going through the dark night of the soul by remembering the anukampa, the compassion of the Lord. This is also a special form of compassion of the Lord. So Maharaj gives the example of you're holding on to few attachments which has to be taken away. So when things are taken away from you, understand that these are the attachments that you're trying to hold on to. Rather than resisting it, let go of the attachments so that you can raise to a higher platform. The Lord wants you to move to a higher platform of consciousness, and for the grace to come, if you're holding on to certain things, if I'm holding on to 4 things in my hand, if somebody wants to give something else, I can't receive it. So, Lord, by His own compassion, He takes them away from your hands. And that's where Maharaj gives this principle of akinchana. The Lord sometimes intervenes in our lives to take everything away. Although we may not understand His reasons at the time, the Lord is actually clearing the path for something greater. We cannot receive His gifts unless we stop clinging to what we already have. We often need a divine push and let go. When this push comes, we may cry out in anguish, "Oh God, I have nothing." But we must remember at these times that everything happens for a purpose. If God does not remove our old attachments, He may find our hands too full to receive the blessings He wishes to bestow. If God does not remove our old attachments, He may find our hands too full to receive the blessings He wishes to bestow. So this philosophical understanding and how to get that push and live through that, this is where we need to take shelter of what Rupa Goswami says as like-minded, affectionate, advanced devotees. Is not. This is from you going through the period of dark night of the soul, and when you see others going through the dark night of the soul, and when you see that their actions may indicate that they have fallen from their position, as it may seem as if they may have fallen from their position. How do you view and how do you react and how do you help in those situations is described in the Gita itself. Where if a person a sadhu commits something very abominable, Krishna says that he is still saintly. Why is that? Because he is still continuing the process. So two things, a person committing abominable action and still continuing bhakti, and we have another person viewing this. How this particular saintly person is committing something abominable, and how do you view? Krishna describes that you should still view him as a sadhu. Why is that? It's because this person is still continuing his bhakti. Eventually, by the compassion, as Mataji quoted the verse, Krishna removes the darkness in the ignorance. It is between him and Krishna the struggle that they are going through. We as an observer, we may not understand the struggle that they're going through, but at least we shouldn't condemn them for their shortcomings. You still have to view them as saintly. Because you are a devotee, you must have faith in the process of devotional service, that the bhakti that he is doing is more powerful and that will overcome the shortcomings that he has. If you treat him and you label him as a non-sadhu or a convict, then what you're doing is you're putting more faith in his anarthas and his shortcomings than the process of bhakti. So then, therefore, you're not a devotee. So that's why Krishna says, it becomes righteous. The devotee who is undergoing the dark night of the soul and struggling and sometimes may fall, but sticks to the process, he is righteous. And when you see him as a saint and you have faith in the process of bhakti, thinking that the bhakti will overpower his anarthas, then you also become righteous. Because you have faith in bhakti. That's when all this anukampa, that is compassion, is required, where one, as a fellow devotee, you also show compassion to them. We may not have to agree, or we may not have to replicate the wrong actions of the devotee, saying that that's the standard that I need to follow. We don't need to do that. If he's committing something abominable, we shouldn't think that's the standard, I'll start following it. No, not necessarily. We check with Guru Sadhu Shastra. If it is not, then we know this is how I should not behave and correct ourselves. At the same time, he's continuing his bhakti. Bhakti will purify him. Then we have faith in the bhakti. So, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj describes that spiritual warriors need that kind of vision towards others, and they also need to understand that when you're going through that struggle, spiritual warriors need what he says as reinforcement. I'll read that section. Many spiritual warriors undergo a dark night of soul during which they question the whole conception of God. Some emerge with their faith intact, although institutions they depended upon no longer exist, or techniques they relied upon previously are simply not effective anymore. Many souls can be lost if not guided properly. Wounded soldiers must receive reinforcements. Wounded soldiers must receive reinforcement. So this is an angle that we can look at when you're trying to help other devotees when they are going through their dark night of the soul, and when they are going through their struggle, we can help them. And that's how we are taking in the mood of the Lord, showing compassion. I'll finish there and see if there are any questions, comments on what we discussed. If anyone wants to add anything. Yes, ma'am.
Krishna gives us a shelter of his lotus feet, even if the devotee doesn't desire.
Yeah, okay, so the demigods praying to the Lord, saying that he gives shelter at his lotus feet even when you don't desire. And your point is the Lord does not interfere with the free will of the Lord, free will of the jiva. I'll bring up that prayer. Satyam Dishatyat. One second. The shelter at the Lord's lotus feet is given to everybody, whether you want to take advantage of it or not. It's up to you. When you do take advantage of it, you get purified and all of that. But when you're adamant, and it's not that the Lord is not giving, He is giving, but if you're not taking advantage of it, then it is still up to the choice of the jiva. But the Lord tries to various methods, like through Siksha Gurus or through the Shastras, or even through some ordinary interactions, and that's when we need to be open to receive the instructions, even though we don't know what form it may come. We even see in life of Prabhupada that he took the point given for publishing books, even from, was that like a postman or somebody who said, why do you print periodical? People will throw, why don't you print books? So my point is, the shelter is given to all at all the times, but if we are keeping our eyes shut, we may not be able to see it. How do you define taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord? It is done through various ways, by physically coming, taking darshan, then following his instructions, which is through following the surrendering through a proper disciple, proper representative of the Lord, and connecting to the Lord through him. So that's how you take shelter. Then you perform the different items of devotional service. That way you start taking shelter of the feet. So my point is, there are various avenues which the Lord is giving you, whichever suits you, whichever is appealing to you. There are various outlets, whichever you want to go to and go deep into it. It's there. But if one doesn't want to take advantage of it, doesn't mean that we can't say that you didn't give your mercy. That's my point. Like, it's always there. So you take shelter through the various devotional processes, through following the instructions of the spiritual master and all of that. Yeah. Okay. Finish here. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.